Yeah. We're going to get to the NFL and Jamel Hill, a genuine radical, and ESPN and the Trumpster. In fact, I have I'm going to fold all that into what Trump is actually doing here in this story that the generals in the intelligence departments, agencies have taken over running the country and are in open defiance of Trump. Those stories are from people that you would have thought are conservative by virtue of their names and their past, but they have become so addled with anger and rage. I think what's really driving a lot of these so-called conservatives is that their influence has been demonstrated to be nil. They devoted their magazines and their commentary to defeating Trump, and it didn't happen. And so now they're just angry and throwing whatever up against the wall and seeing if it'll stick. But it is, nevertheless, serious charge that Trump is being openly defied by the swamp and members of the swamp in his administration. So why did he fire him if that's happening? I have a theory that I will espouse as the program unfolds. Now, let's move forward to the two things about Trump that I want to get to today. One of is this NFL stuff. And it dovetails with another point that I want to make. There are increasingly stories showing up in so-called conservative media, but not just conservative media, but certainly conservative media included, basically say that Donald Trump is really not president. He's got the title, but he's so screwy and he's so off the wall and so dangerous that the adults in the White House are countermanding practically every order he gives and are saving the country from him, and therefore saving the world. They would want us to believe that Trump's given the order or gotten close to nuke North Korea, for example, but the adults are countermanding the order. Now, that's an example. That's not something people claim has happened. But the issue being raised here is two-pronged, okay? If this is happening, is Trump really this? I mean, this insane? Is this Trump really this? So much so that Tillerson, Mattis, and Kelly are having to run the country. Oh, and another group of people supposedly taking over running the country is the intelligence community. The intelligence community and the military in these stories are said to be actually running the country. And the other aspect of it is a constitutional crisis if this is happening and nobody's stopping it. And if Trump apparently is okay with it, then hell's bells here, folks. We've got the rise of the military-industrial complex having taken over the country, and nobody knows it yet. So that is the second prong of the two prongs I'm seeing written about here. And in both prongs, you have to ask, well, wait a minute now. If Trump is being regularly countermanded, for those of you in Rio Linda, that means not listened to. If Trump's orders are not being carried out, Trump obviously knows this, so why does he put up with it? If Trump is sitting there saying whatever he is saying about immigration and tax reform, and this all springs from his Twitter back and forth with Bob Corker, by the way, that's the starting point for this. And people are saying if Trump's aware of this, then he must be okay with it. If he's giving orders here and there and they're not being listened to and not being implemented and he's not complaining about it, then, well, it doesn't compute. Why is he putting up with this? This is what I shall attempt to answer as the program unfolds. Okay, we're moving on now to yet another subject that I said we're going to get to before the program ends, and that this leads into it, and that is Trump actually president, or as many in the conservative media, certainly on the left as well, are writing, Kelly, Mattis, and Tillerson and the intelligence community are actually running the country. They're refusing to implement Trump's orders. And A, is that good? B, is this a constitutional crisis? C, why is Trump putting up with it if it is happening? Now, what starts it all? Well, I can't say it starts it because these stories have been in the germination stage. The the deep state has been leaking for a while that the chief of staff and McMaster, too. This is the military and the intelligence community are officially attempting to stop Trump and are openly defying his orders on anything while telling him they're going to do it, and they don't do it in order to save the country and so forth. And people are asking all kinds of questions about it. The Corker incident has brought it above the surface. Let us start audio soundbite 7. This is last night, Anderson Cooper speaking with the writer for the New York Times, Jonathan Martin, about Trump's feud with Corker. Question: Jonathan, the idea that nearly every Senate Republican agrees with Corker, I don't know, that sounds kind of terrifying to me.
It's revealing is what it is. To ask all 52 Republican senators, really, folks, do you not agree with Senator Corker, or are you just saying that for public consumption? Because all of us who work in Washington have had conversations privately with them, and they roll their eyes at President Trump.
This is the contention that Trump's dangerous, that Trump's incompetent, that he's a boob, that if he's left alone, he's going to start World War III, and that the White House is simply an adult daycare center where Mattis and McMaster and Tillerson are the headmasters, and Trump is the 6-year-old that they're trying to keep in control and so forth. And this point was that all 52 Republican senators agree with Corker. That's what Martin was saying. So yesterday on the New York Times website, they released audio excerpts of the interview that Martin did with Corker. And Martin said to Corker, do you think the country's in jeopardy?
He doesn't realize that, that we could be heading towards World War III with the kind of comments that he's making. And it's like it's an act to come, and sure that bothers me just from the standpoint of, I know that he's necessarily a warmonger. I don't believe that he is a warmonger in any way. Watch his performances, it very much feels to me like he thinks as president he's on a reality television show. And I don't think he understands that the messages that he sends out.
So there you have it. That is, and apparently, according to Jonathan Martin, that is essentially what all 52 Republican senators think of Donald Trump. That he doesn't know what he's doing. That, listen to the comments he's making. It's like an act. It's like this is a reality show. It's like The Apprentice White House, and it's all an act to him, and he's just having fun. He doesn't know what he's doing. Somebody has to be an adult. Somebody has to be serious. Now, the assumptions here are everything I've told you and everything that you figured out on your own. They simply cannot abide an outsider coming in and taking over their turf. And in the process, they have to portray the outsider as a total dunderhead and a fool and an idiot and nowhere near sophisticated or accomplished enough or competent enough to deal with the serious issues they deal with every day. By definition, Donald Trump must be portrayed as a childish, immature boob, totally out of his element and doesn't know it. Bob Corker here has revealed exactly why none of the Trump agenda is ever going to get through this Senate. And that's what you have to keep in mind. The Trump agenda simply is as the Trump agenda. It will not be moved through the Senate. This, to me, confirms every instinct I've had that it's not the Democrats stopping Trump, it's the Republicans. The Democrats, too, don't misunderstand, but they would naturally stop Trump. That's their job. The fact that the Republicans have joined them illustrates this insider versus outsider dynamic to a T. Bob Corker said one other thing.
It's concerning to me. A lot of people think that there's some good cop, bad cop act underway, but that's just not true. It's like he's doing The Apprentice or something. He's just putting on an act.
I know he's not a warmonger. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's just acting. He doesn't take it seriously. This is world order stuff. This is important United Nations conference. He doesn't even take it seriously. You can see it in his eyes. He doesn't even know what he's doing. So they went to Mitch McConnell, Paris, Kentucky yesterday. Mitch spoke with reporters about the feud between Trump and Corker.
Senator Corker is a valued member of the Republican caucus in the Senate and a key player on the budget. We're going to be turning to the budget next week, and he'll be a big help in helping us get it passed.
We're going to turn to the budget next week. Corker be a big help helping us get it passed. Really? Van Jones, the avowed communist from the Obama administration, now at CNN, weighed in last night on what he thinks of Bob Corker.
I don't know Corker, but he's my home state senator. And even as a Republican, I've never had a cause to feel anything other than proud of him and the decorum and the way that he's conducted himself as a senator.
Well,
so this is not a firebrand. This is not an irresponsible guy. This is one of our best senators, and he's saying something very serious.
Yes, right. I don't even know who the guy is. I know Corker's my senator, my home state, but man, is he good. Oh, wow, is he really, really, really conducted himself in a way I'm really, really proud of him. I never had cause to feel anything other than proud of Bob Corker. Yeah, that's right. Spare me. The truth of the matter is that were this not happening and Corker running for re-election, Van Jones would be in there trying to smother the guy and defeat him right along with the rest of the Democrat Party.